Welcome again to Talia's Book Nook, LB Gaines. Thank you for joining. Um, so as I was saying, I think I had just finished reading Room 214, San Juan. And I'm like, I gotta have LB Gaines on Talia's Book Nook. I need to have it like sooner rather than later because Room 214 came out what, September 19th?
Yes, September 19th.
Yeah, and I'm like, I need to have her like in October, whatever date works for her. I could have done tonight, I could have done the 15th. So I think the day I was getting ready to email you, I saw an email from your assistant and I'm like, oh, perfect, perfect. So I'm so glad to have you on here. So you're a relatively new author.
Yes, brand new.
Introduce yourself to the people who may not be familiar with you just yet.
Hi, everyone. I'm LB Gaines, and so I write books that feel like 90s R&B, characters that are hard won, and loves that feel difficult, but it's worth the fight and it's worth the read. It's nice to meet you all.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to start with a game.
Okay.
And then we're going to get into you as a writer, your journey, how we got to this point. Then we're going to talk Stamped. I want to talk about Beneath the Harvest Moon, which is out on Friday. And I want to see what's next. And then we're going to end with a game. And then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Are you ready for the rapid fire?
I'm ready.
All right. Last book you read?
Ooh, Right Side of Paradise by Sean.
Yeah!
It's spicy. Oh my God.
I finished it this morning. Very, very, very good. Very good. Okay. So Right Side of Paradise by Sean. I loved it. What genre would you be writing if you weren't writing romance?
Ooh, fantasy.
Fantasy. Okay. Where is the next book in the Stamped novella series located?
In Santorini, Greece.
Okay. What's your least favorite trope?
Ooh, okay. Enemies to lovers.
Why?
So because it takes a lot for me to really believe your enemies, right? And the only way it works is you can't just dislike each other. You have to want to murder each other. And, when it's done right, it's done real right. But it's something that intimidates me the most.
Okay. Who was the first person to read 3 Months in Accra?
Ooh, that's a great question. I honestly think it was one of my tomfoolery girls in the podcast. I want to say it was T. They bullied me to become an author, by the way. Like I said, I wanted to do it. And then they made me launch my page right before Black Romance Book Fest. They were telling everybody there that I was an author. And so then I looked like a liar if I backpedaled.
Yeah. And I felt like I met you at Black Romance Book Fest. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I had awareness about the author side just yet. Yeah. Were you publicly sharing that just yet?
So at that point, I had wrote a book, an urban romance book, by the way.
And where is that?
So that's coming out in the new year. I'm signed to LKG Publications, which is Elle Kaysen and her sister Kizzy's publication brand. And so when you go through an actual agency, things take a lot slower, right? Because there's different edits, and then there's marketing, so that baby is getting the TLC it deserves. But the first book I ever wrote was actually an urban romance book.
Okay, and that's coming out next year.
Yes.
When next year?
So I would say between February and April, because I don't want y'all to call me a liar, but early in the year. Yes.
Okay. So urban romance on our way. Who's your author bestie?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would probably say one of my pen sisters, Camille V. We actually do writing sprints. Her first debut book is coming out at the end of October. It's called The Weight of Us, so make sure you're following her. She's a sweetheart.
Okay, awesome. Next book on your TBR.
Okay, Our Vicious Oath by Annie Davenport.
Okay, and that is out on
October 28th at the end of the month.
Okay, so later this month. Okay.
Yeah, I got an ARC copy of it.
Yeah, I think I have an ARC too, but I'm waiting for the ALC, so I needed an ALC. Can you tell us one of the tropes in your first full-length novel, which is not out yet?
Yeah. Okay. Second chance romance. which is funny because I don't believe in second chance in real life, but I keep
No,
writing.
same.
No, I don't. Second chance romance, age gap, time jump, an extended time jump, um, grumpy sunshine.
Okay.
There's a few different tropes in there.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
I think y'all gonna eat him right on up. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's your favorite author?
Okay, I would say J.L. Seegers. It's kind of hard. Can I have a contemporary romance one and an urban?
Yeah.
One? Okay, so I would say J.L. Seegers, and then I would say Gray Huffington on the urban side because I'm in a chokehold.
Okay, good picks. And last question: who's an underrated Black romance author?
Ooh, there's so many of them. Sedona Rose.
Okay, that's a good one. That is a very good one. Okay, that wasn't hard. Okay, so you're a new author to many of us. Tell us about your earliest memory with books, just period, like books in general.
Yeah. So, my mom was a single mom and she worked 2 jobs. She was always working. But one of the things I remember is even when she came home late, right? Her sitting with me with a big flashcard and we would run through the sight words and then she would like curate books that went with the sight words, right? And now being a mom, I realized how much time that must have, taken her. She was probably waking up before work doing that to make sure I had this kind of well-rounded experience. And so I was reading, I remember reading early, kindergarten and first grade, right? Okay. And reading books that the teachers thought were too hard. They were like, no, those aren't your grade level. And I would read them out loud to them. And they'd be like, well, let me mind my business then.
Okay, prove them wrong. What's your earliest memory of reading romance?
Ooh, absolutely sneaking the Beverly Jenkins books off my mom's bookshelf. Because I remember thinking their covers were so erotic and so cool and, sneaking in the bathroom with one and reading one and try to put it back in the same spot I got it before my mom got home and realized what I was doing.
At what moment did you realize you wanted to be a published author?
Ooh, I knew since high school, but I was afraid. I thought that every artist had to go through the starving artist stage, and I didn't want to starve, baby. So I did something else.
Why did you choose to write romance?
So I love love. I love everything about it. I love the feeling. I love the fear of it. I love encouraging my friends and forcing them on dates. I love everything about it. And so I felt like me getting a chance to curate a world full of love, and not just the love between the characters, but love in the friendships and love of self, it was a no-brainer for me.
Okay. So tell me about the journey between your podcast co-host T saying you're about to write and then 3 months in Accra. What was that like? How did we get from peer pressure to published?
Yeah. So I got to go back a little bit. So I was the CEO of a nonprofit for 5 years. It was a very tough job, right? Rewarding, but tough. I was constantly writing grants. So me and my husband have a grant writing business. We still do. But I'm talking about pushing out anywhere between 20 to 45 pages of grants or just written reports or RFPs a day. And so unfortunately I had gotten an autoimmune disease and I realized that I needed to step down, right? That I was killing my body. And so once I finally stepped down, I was bored. I had nothing to do, right? And so I was like, let me channel this energy into something I want to do, which was the first time in my adult life I had ever done that. And I put it into writing and it just started flowing out of me, right? And so I always wrote little short stories and notebooks, but they were never supposed to be anything. And I actually was working on my first book that I was writing for real wasn't even 3 months in Accra. It was the urban romance book.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting. And I got to a standstill. I felt like the characters weren't talking to me. And my husband said, well, go do what creatives do. Just work on something else. Don't artists have multiple pages?
Since he know everything.
Right, he knows everything. And so I was stuck. And so it's not really like me to go back and read. I've been a journaler for years, but it's not really like me to reread my journals that often. But there was one journal specifically that stood out to me, and it was my time when I lived in Ghana in 2014 and 2015. And I opened it up, and the expressive of what I felt as a young 20 something, of like being on the ocean and having the camaraderie with like rich diplomats' kids, and, you know, juxtaposing that Ghana that I thought I was going to experience with the one I really did. I was like, no, I need to talk about this. It's different from my life in Ghana, but I had to talk about it. And so I paused that project, started working on 3 Months in Accra, and it just flowed. And at that point, I let T read it, and she was like, oh, you're doing this for real. We're telling everybody. And it wasn't just her. I had my Beauty Brains and Book Club girls, and once I told them, they, you know, Jazz and Linz and Lorraine, and some of them are on the slide. My best friend Ariana was like, we're going to do this, right? And so we, you know, here we are. I never put the pen down since.
Okay. So how did we, was this published under L. Cason's publications?
So with L. Cason, I'm hybrid. So everything that I've put out so far has been independent by me.
Okay.
So I will know when it's books under her, because they'll have like, you know, LKG publications on, kind of like, you know, when we see like, we'll see B-Love presents or Essilon presents, like we'll see it on the cover. You'll know when it's that. But I can tell you, she's such an amazing mentor, right? Like, I'll champion my independent stuff even when it's not under her. Like, what do you need? Do you need my marketing team? Do you need my editing team? Even small things that you don't think, like making my cover her profile picture, right? From a well-respected and loved author doing that, people are willing to take a chance on my independent stuff, which is amazing.
Okay. So so this urban romance that comes out next year, that will be LKG.
Yes.
Okay. What has it been like publishing independently?
It's one of the hardest things I've ever experienced, and not the writing part, right? So I feel like the writing comes easy. You get into a flow. Like most authors have a word count per day. I don't have a word count as long as I'm writing something per day. But the hard part is marketing. Like I still feel icky, like posting every day, right? Or, you know, I'm someone who's a relationship person. So a lot of people will say, well, I just met you at this event. Why didn't you tell me you were an author? Because I'm like, I'm a reader girl first, and I want us to vibe, and I want you to feel who I am, so you don't feel like I'm selling you something, right? And so that's something I have to get over. It's difficult. And, you know, when you're an artist, you know, to quote Erykah Badu, you're sensitive about your shit, you know? And so I made the mistake that all authors do, constantly checking Goodreads.
Okay.
I don't do that no more.
At what point did you feel like you had to stop reading? Like, what made you stop reading reviews?
It was really early on. Someone was like, I love this book, and they gushed on about how much they loved it. And they were like, but I gave it 2 stars because I didn't like a song on your playlist. Like, true story. They didn't like a song on the playlist of an artist who don't pay my bills. And so they took some stars off of the book that I wrote.
Okay, that is insane. That is absolutely insane. So you mentioned that you're a reader first. You know, you have this book podcast, you're part of a book club, you're online as a reader. What is it like being on the other side?
I realized how spoiled and entitled I was as a reader. Like,
okay.
You love reading, and so you get a book, you consume it, especially with Jaquel J. A Jaquel J book comes out, I'm done the same day, and I'm under Miss Ma'am's, you know, like, hey, the author lady's like, hey, can I have another one? When's another one coming out? And you don't realize how much heart and soul and time it takes to pour into something, right? Or I would make the comment before, like, we only get 30,000 words. Do you know how long 30,000 words takes to write? So, you know, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about grace and a lot about patience. You know, I used to go to events and I would meet authors and they were kind, but I would say to myself, or in my group chat, which is where things belong, like, hey, I didn't really think that author was that kind, or they didn't really seem to be engaging with their readers. And now I'm like, oh, they were overstimulated, baby. It had nothing to do with you, right? All of the things they had to do in the background, all of the setups, they're probably signing all those books right before they meet you, lugging things in, right? I have just a whole new sense of grace, just being on the other side, but also appreciation, because also being on the author side, you realize how many books are coming out. As a reader, you love that all these books are coming out. But as an author, if you get in your own head, you might start to talk yourself down and think, well, is there room for my work? Does anybody want to read this when all these books are coming out? So on both sides, I've learned some appreciation.
Okay. What is your advice to new authors?
Yeah, I would say find your tribe. And so, I think your tribe has to be on both sides. Like, I have been so blessed that my art team, has been really solid. And when I say solid, like, both giving me great feedback, but also like, hey, on page 9, I think you could pull it out a little bit. And like, because I'm an English professor, that's what I do during the day. I appreciate that type of feedback. If you're going to tell me something, give me a page number, paragraph 3, line 4, right? And so I have an appreciation for those people because it's with so much love, right? They want to see me grow. And then I also have author friends. You need both, right? You need the reader girlies you can kiki with and you trust. And that's going to be honest about your work when you're asking for honest beta reader feedback. But you also need author friends too, because it was the author Nina. I was really fortunate to be a part of like a close knit group she was having, and she had like a writers group. And she told me early on, before 3 months in Accra came out, she said, once it's out, it's no longer yours. It belongs to the world. Whether people like it or not, that's not your problem, right? And she told me early on, like, it's okay to want to be a published author because you want to make money, cool. But are you an author or are you a writer? Because if you're a writer, you have to write no matter what, whether you get 1,000,000 pages read on KNP or you get 10 pages read. You have to write no matter what because it's in you. And so, I grew up religious, and one of the things my mom always said was garbage in, garbage out, good things in, good things out. And so I just try to surround myself with a bunch of good things and good people to pour into me so I can pour it back out.
Okay. Where do you get your inspiration from? Like, you talked about your journal and how that helped you with 3 months in Accra. Where else have you drawn inspiration from?
Yeah. I would say I watch people, which is probably creepy now that I say
Yeah,
that.
I want you to elaborate.
Yeah. I don't creep in people's window, but like, me and my best friend had took a birthday trip for her to Greece, right? And before we went to Greece, I had already had my cities planned out for stamped. Greece was not included. Okay. Mm-hmm. So while we were there, I watched couples. I noticed couples bickering, and then the moment they decided to let go and decide to have a good time, right? I could tell who was a type A wound up baddie just from their body language, right? I watched like, I could tell there was one couple that was just there for their kids, right? And even without hearing their conversation, watch their dialogue. I'm like, ooh, that would be a great second chance story, right? So I just draw inspiration from watching the love or lack thereof that I see in real people. I love to travel. And so my number one hope with the stamped collection is that I don't take for granted that some people won't ever get to leave this country, but I hope when they open my book, they feel like they were in Accra. They feel like they were in Juan. They feel like they were in Santorini. Like, they were able to escape and go.
Okay. This is a great transition because I want to talk about Stamped. My introduction to you, many others' introduction to you. So I remember seeing 3 months in Accra floating around over the summer. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, in the indie Black romance space, like, I'm like, I don't know if I've ever read like an indie Black romance that was set on the continent. Like, it's not like some, major US city or like some, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Um, so you talk about having lived in Ghana and having your journal entries kind of inform or inspire you to write this. Um, what is this for the readers? What is this story about? What is the Accra of it all?
Yeah. So this story follows Aliza. She's a senior Africana Studies student who goes to Howard in the book. She's from DC. She doesn't grow up with a lot of money. So, in the book I talk about she's never really gone outside of Maryland, right? She's never really gone past Baltimore. And so She has a chance to study abroad. A chance though that didn't just come to her; she took it. She wrote grants. She raised money from all the different departments on her university's campus to go and study at the University of Ghana. And her first night there, very first night, she locks eyes with Kofi.
Yes.
All of the things that you would expect an MMC to be. He's chocolatey, he's handsome, he's smooth, he's funny. But what was important for me to capture in Kofi is that everything you thought you knew about African men, scrap it and let's start again. Like he's from money, like money, okay? He's super proud of where he's from. He's from Kumasi, Ghana, so that's the Ashanti people, very connected to his roots. His family owns reservoir engineering firms that's been in the family for generations. I mean, he has a lot of responsibility that he's expected to step up. You know, he's not the only child, but he's a child that essentially they pour into. You're going to get this finance degree. They're not supposed to fall for each other, but they do, right? And I wanted just to show this. Her and Kofi's love is important. But for me, the most important thing is to show the love for herself. So Aliza is very deeply insecure at the beginning of the book. She's so self-conscious about what she wears. She's going through grief. And so in her letting go, right, she experiences what love could be like. Okay. And without, giving away too much, they have a whirlwind love affair. I've always been just so drawn to the stories of people falling in love in a very short amount of time. And so they do that. Some people call it a slow burn. I don't know how.
What?
Only 100.
What? I having read it, I don't question. And I think this is a philosophical question I've been thinking about for the longest. When we say something is a slow burn to what?
So how I see it is, one of my favorite authors is Alexandria House. She says she gets something called bangxiety, right? Where she has to wait too long in the book before they bang it out. For me, when people say slow burn, I think because we're freaked out over here in the romance world, I think people are talking about how long it takes them to be intimate. But for me, one of my best friend's mom taught me, like, intimacy is into me you see. It's not just getting naked. So
Into me you see.
So I think we have a lot of intimate moments before that. So to me, it's not a slow burn. But even though I don't check my reviews, my friends will screenshot the good ones and they'll send them to me. People are calling it a slow burn, baby.
Well, it's a novella. So for me, this doesn't even, the concept of like a slow burn novella doesn't even exist to me. Like that seems contradictory. Interesting. But I do think you have a great point. Like, because we're so freaked out in this community, I think for a lot of people, the destination of a slow burn is the intimacy.
Yeah.
But I think what you're bringing, because to me, I think I knew instantly. I'm like, oh my God, these people are like instantly attracted. Night one, like there's no, like, this is clear.
Yeah,
this is clear. But it's interesting that people do call it a slow burn. So not being Ghanaian, right? You're not Ghanaian. Okay, how were you able to write a story set in this locale and stay true to the people, to the culture? Like, how did you make sure that a Ghanaian person reading this wasn't like, this girl don't know what she's talking about?
So when I had the privilege to live there, I had a group of friends, right? So in the book, Aliza is really just about her and Kofi and Tasha, her good friend. But I was fortunate enough to have a friend group. And so, people don't think about it, but Accra specifically is like a big hub. Just like people travel everywhere to go to school in DC or go to school in New York, people are traveling all over, not just West Africa, but the continent to go to the University of Ghana. It's a really great school. So I was really fortunate that I had both Ghanaian friends, but friends from Nigeria, friends from Cameroon, friends from Gabon, right? And so it was really important for me that, first and foremost, the Ghanaian friends I met read it, but also the other folks from the other parts of West Africa read it too. Like, how did you experience Ghana as someone who wasn't from there as well? And so we had a lot of rounds, jokes about, like, okay, you mentioned this dish was something as an outsider you love, but that's not like so definitely had a going back and forth. And there was a moment where I wasn't sure that it was appropriate that I wrote this story. And like I was able to be honest and share that and get their feedback. And I was told that one, it was appropriate because it was from Eliza's point of view. So I know that's probably a lot of people's number one question, like, why did we only get Kofi's point of view at the end? You know what I mean? It was from Eliza's point of view, so I wanted people to see how she experienced as an African American, right? But also because it was her identity and her shift and the way she's seen her blackness, it was important that it was clear that she wasn't trying to generalize Ghana. This is the way that one person experienced Accra, Ghana, specifically.
Okay. Awesome. So next book in Stamp, book 2, Room 214, San Juan. I may have missed it, but these are not interconnected, right? None of these books are interconnected. So you can kind of read however, in whatever order you please. Okay, just good. So we were just talking about 3 Months in Accra. We're talking about Room 214, San Juan. What was the inspo for that?
I'm sure it's not shocking, but like, Sanaa is me and I am she, right? As far as if you don't follow me on Substack, that's where I get just a little bit more personal, and I like give give a kind of like a front seat into my writing. And so I'm someone who has OCD. I'm an extreme type A person, and it was important for me that there was mental health representation in a book. But it was also important for me to display someone who might have the same experiences I have, but also someone who has different experiences than even I have with OCD. And so her character was deeply personal to me because her character was struggling from burnout, trying to be too much to too many people. So in Room 214, she has what I call the big girl job, right? The job making real good money, the job that all of us feels like, okay, if you get it, you feel like you made it. But what happens when that job is weighing on your body, right? Your spirit, your health, right? And so she has to completely walk away from job to start her own. But unfortunately, the cycle is continuing because people will tell you what not to do, but they won't tell you what to do to break the cycle, right? So she was deeply personal to me. But other than our personalities, right, and being type A, completely different, I love the idea of forced proximity. It's my favorite trope.
Okay.
Some of my favorite forced proximity stories are like Snow King catches a snowflake, Abe Valdez, right? Like, I love the idea of, or even there was just, I want to say it was Casey Mills' Christmas book that came out. Like, if it's forced proximity, sign me up for it. I'm there for it. And my best friend's a flight attendant, so quite literally, when I say I pull inspiration from everywhere, on that trip home from Greece, I got rerouted so many times, diverted in another country, stuck. And I'm sitting there like, even though I'm mad, I'm writing, like, wouldn't this be a crazy story, right? I'm sitting there at the hotel by myself, ready to get home. But what if somebody just got slutted out this whole time, right? Like, what if somebody got the Mario coins knocked out of them? But I think that Sanaa is so important to me because, I've been so blessed to have such great friends. And even if you're not type A and you don't have OCD, you can see yourself in Sanaa, right?
Yeah, I think she was very relatable, like extremely relatable. So we're gonna put a pin in the Mario coins. Put a pin in that. Why Puerto Rico? Why San Juan?
So again, traveled a lot. Puerto Rico is one of the most beautiful places that I've gotten the opportunity to visit, even though it's part of the United States. So some people are like, it's part of the U.S. Why does it get its own book? Because they have their distinctive culture. Don't get it twisted, right? It's a destination that people should take. And I also, she's diverted there because of a hurricane. I didn't want the moment lost on her that there could be a hurricane there too, right? You're trying to move and escape to the next thing. You're running from something that could find you no matter what, right? I think the culture is rich, the music. I seen somebody in the live ask a question earlier about like, why is there music and playlists for each song? For me, music is a big part of the story for me. I hear the song as I'm writing, right? It helps me even anticipate like, there needs to be a scene right here based on, the music. Sometimes I let music play and I'll write down when a good mix comes on. Other times I won't, and I know the songs. But I knew that when I thought of Puerto Rico, there was just so much music, right? So both reggaeton, but also like influences that you can see in black music, and just there was just so much there that I needed people to know. Don't be sleeping on Puerto Rico. You could get there rather quickly.
So how did you make sure that this honored the locale, the people, the culture? Did you have like the same network of like Puerto
So
Rican friends as you did in Ghana? Like how were you able to make sure that this was spot on?
So I did. It went to sensitivity readers. I would say that in this story, I'm less focused on the Puerto Rican culture, and more focused on the couple, because if you haven't read it, they barely leave that room. So for that sensitivity reading team, it was more important about like the food, the music, the location, describing the beaches. I would say it wasn't as heavy as a lift as 3 Months in Accra, because in 3 Months of Accra was a character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where in Room 214, the focus is really on these people. But I did go through the same process because it's important for me not to disrespect or, disrespect anybody's culture.
Okay. So Mario coins. So 3 months in Accra, it's sweet, it's fluffy. Not saying they don't, do what they need to do. Um but Room 214 San Juan is like, are we like are we even reading the same series, right? Like this is for what this is sweet. Room 214, it's hot, it's spicy, it's steamy. Sanaa gets exactly what she needs in that hotel room. Why did you decide to take that direction for 214?
Yeah. So I don't outline. The characters come to me first. And I think it's important that where Eliza is in her life, I'm not saying you can't have good sex in your early 20s. I'm not saying that. I think that Kofi and Eliza's lovemaking was wonderful, right? And it's being produced on audiobook and listening to the narrator. I'm like, okay, I hear you. There's something about that great sexual awakening you get in your 30s, right? To me, there's nothing like it. And I feel like people don't talk about it enough. People talk about this great sexual awakening in your 20s, but like when you know what you like, your experience, you know what you're here for, you know, um, like sex toys are no longer taboo. You know, whoever you're deciding to be with intimately, if they're secure in themselves, they want to bring them in. It was just a whole different ball game, and to me, there was freedom with them being a bit older. So now it's 35 and Ezra's 40. It just felt different. I didn't even feel like the same person writing the book. And originally, I was afraid that they call this sophomore jinx that happens in music.
Uh-huh.
I was afraid people weren't gonna like it because the really good reviews I got from 3 Months in a Crowd was like, this is so lyrical, it's so lush, and I'm an English professor. I do think 3 Months in a Crowd were those things, but I'm like, oh baby, this is different over here.
No, I was reading it and I'm like, oh, this is not I'm like, this is a departure, right? And I do think for Sanaa, like given the burnout she was experiencing, like this was also like prescript, like the type of sex she was having, she needed it, right? But I was like, oh, I'm like, I didn't know, I'm not in your mind, so I'm like, oh, so this entire series isn't gonna be like sweet, fluffy. I'm like, oh, we're every book is going to be different. How did you navigate writing those scenes?
Yeah, so I'm laughing because my husband's
He's a beta reader.
yeah, so my husband is actually a professional editor, like nonfiction and grant writer. So he was the editor on 3 Months in Accra, and he tried to pick up this Room 214, and he just kept putting it down. And I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I'm gonna skip over the sex scenes," and I'm like, "Baby, the page is
No,
97."
they need to be edited as well.
That, but it's also 97 pages. If you're going to skip the sex scene, what you reading? So I went ahead and hired an editor. Shout out to Mark Lee, because my husband was acting squeamish. I don't even know what that was about, but I'm laughing because what it was like for me was getting started writing sex scenes felt a little awkward. Now they're some of my favorite things to write because I know what type of time the couple's gonna be on when I write their first sex scene.
Okay.
You know, but it depends on the couple. So like at this point I've written like 6 stories. Y'all have gotten 3, but one of my FMCs is a virgin, right? You don't expect the same thing from a virgin that you do from Sanaa, who's been throwing that thing in a circle. You see what I'm saying? So like I know what type of time they're gonna be on once I write the first one.
Okay. So Ezra was someone I really enjoyed. Why do you think what do you think makes him a great MMC in room 214?
Yeah. I think what makes him a really good MMC is he never tries to pretend like, oh, I know what you're going through. I can relate. He's just like, I don't know. I don't know anything about having OCD. I don't know anything. You know, he's very honest. Even when he's honest without giving her puffery, right? He never promises, oh, we're going to find each other after this. Like he's very honest, and I really respect that. But I also love that he's at the point of his life. He's over the hump that she's in, right? So he has multiple successful business ventures, right? He's at the point where he's ready to let some go. He's gotten venture capital, right? He very well could have made a call in the book to set her up, but he wants to respect her for who she is as a businesswoman. I think that he is edgy, right? So when I describe him, he's fine. He's finer than fine.
When you can you like paint the picture, like who does he look like? Who's a reference we can have to describe how fine this man is?
So the man he looks like to me is problematic. But if you can take the problem.
Wait, what?
Okay, are y'all ready?
Oh my god, I'm not ready.
He looks like JC on the Game Taylor to me.
He looks like the game. Okay,
yes,
interesting. I'm trying to go back to my reading and try to make. I don't know if I made that connection.
So I'm wondering if anybody read it. Who did he look like to you? But like,
I don't know. I just know he was fine. Like,
yeah, he was.
But I wasn't thinking, oh, this is exactly. I don't think I was making the connection of like, okay, I know he's fine, but fine like whom? Like, yeah. I wasn't thinking that. Okay.
So even though he's that businessman, when she sees him in the lobby, she's not thinking worth millions of dollars. Like he's tatted all up his legs and on his neck, and is like, he's giving thug. Right? Like, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I knew that. I'm like, I knew he was tatted, but like I wasn't thinking, one, that's a throwback. Like I don't know the last time I've heard anything about the game. So like that wouldn't even be top of mind when I'm trying to like fan cast or something, right? Okay. And was that like, when did that come? When did that inspo come?
So
is this your friend here, Jazz? Talk about she lovers. Is this your friend? Is this your friend? Is this your friend putting your business out in the comment section?
My business out there. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you my next tradition. My next published one under LKD, the full length. He looks like Dissay. You know the man in the military that be lifting all them weights. You know what I'm talking about? Dissay.
Spell that.
I think it's DSAY. I think that's what he is on
DSAY. Okay, interesting. Okay. You said he's in the military?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm not hip. But is he active military?
Yeah, he's active, but
he's going by DSAY.
Yes, he has a page, and it is a full.
What should I type in the Google?
Somebody help me out here. I know y'all know who I'm talking about.
I'm gonna type in DSAY.
I'm pretty sure if you put DSAY lifting weights, he'll come right on out.
Okay, so generally, where do you get your inspo for the men?
So typically, right, I make up people in my head. Now, do they look somewhat something like a real person? Yes, but they don't always have. Like, for example, Jason is a point of reference, but it's not like when I was writing Ezra, I seen Jason's face. I see more like an aesthetic. So if you were someone who was on Pinterest and you would create mood boards, right? Okay. Like, I would create a mood board of that type of man. So that I see in the comments, yes, call me D-Say. So,
okay. Oh God, I'm looking. It's loading. It's loading.
so I think the thing.
Oh, I know this man.
Yes.
Okay, I know this man. I know this man. Okay. Um. Okay, I know this man. Okay. I know this man. I don't be paying attention to their names. Okay. So you do like Pinterest boards. You see someone fine, you create a Pinterest board. Okay.
Yes.
Is that how you generally like get your mood boards together? You find things, add them to Pinterest. Okay. I know. Okay. So Stamped is not just 2 books, right? Um, Tell us more about book 3 and whatever you can share about books 4, 5. How many books are we thinking for Stamped?
So Stamped, I see it as kind of like something that's going to be evolving through my career. I see it in volumes. So, you know, because I'm a professor and I was in nonprofit so long, I think of things as fiscal years. I know normal people say the year ends in December, but my like author year to me runs July to July. So from until July of 2026, right, there will be another book and Stamp coming out somewhere between then, and that will finish volume 1. And I might put it on the shelf for a while.
Okay.
But I love to travel. And so as long as I'm traveling, as long as I'm people watching, you will continue to get, and they're novellas, right?
Yeah.
You'll continue to get Stamp books. And they'll
Okay.
be, you know.
So you said book 3 is set in Santorini, Greece. Tell us about the characters. What can you tell us about the characters?
So I can tell you that you have Teddy Walker, but he goes by Walker. He's a sports agent. And you have Ren Peters, who is a pediatrician. They are best friends. And so the group always takes one big trip a year. They always base it around Dr. Peters' schedule because she's so busy. And the whole group decides to take a 14-day cruise around Greece. But all of the rest of the group knows something she doesn't know. He's been in love with her since they were kids, and they're sick of hearing about it. So they all, you know, they all plan for them to get stuck off the boat together, like to get left
What
off.
you mean stuck off the boat?
So, like, you know, they get on the boat, okay, in Athens. They, you know, they have some fun in Athens. They get on the boat. They go. They're on the boat 2 days. They stop in Santorini. They get off. They got everybody in on it. Everybody telling them the port closes at this time, and him taking her on activities. They missed the boat, right? They missed the boat. It's, you know, and they're stuck there until everybody else gets back. And he is madly in love with her. She doesn't think it's gonna work. We've been best friends. I don't want to jeopardize this friendship. He's like, give me 14 days. If I can't change your mind in 14 days, I'll let it go. We can act like this never happened. Okay. So it's a friends to lovers, which I love a friends to lovers story. It's the book that scares me the most though, because friends to lovers can be a little soft, and I don't want this book to be soft. I want it to be, you know, I want it to be as soft as 3 Months in Accra. But yeah, that is the next book in the Stamp collection.
Okay, and you said between now and July.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. So between now and July. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, so for Stamp, it's volume 1 is going to be 3 books, and then volume 2 will start in fiscal year or writer year 2026.
Yes.
Okay, that's the plan. How far along is book 3 in Stamped? Is it done?
It's not done.
Okay.
But I'm making great progress with it.
Okay. Awesome.
So it books out pretty fast. It's the editing that takes a while.
It's the editing. Okay.
And also I've been giving y'all halves, like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, which is not something I planned, and that's also slowing me down.
Okay. So jumping back to book 2 and room 214. I don't know if this is I don't think it's a spoiler, but you basically hint at a full-length novel.
At the end,
at the end, what is that? What's the status of that? When can we expect that?
So the first book in that is actually done, but I have a universe that I'm building, and I can't give it to you now because there's people in the universe you need to meet other places for you to really appreciate them. Like y'all met Cassian at the end of room 214.
Yeah.
when Ezra's like, I need a favor, you know what I mean? Like, I need to know where to drop this package off to. You meet him there. But I can tell you, because I'm done with that book, that I'm excited about that book. That book is a trilogy about two sisters and a brother. The sisters are twins and they start a flower shop. It's called the Greenhouse Diaries. And it's all about their flower shop, and you know, they go on a show like Shark Tank and they win the money, and you know, Cassian is the investor, and he Soleil infuriates him. He doesn't understand why.
Okay. I like this. So
Yeah.
is it an enemies to lovers?
It is. It really
Because you
is.
just said you hate enemies to lovers, so it's an enemies to lovers.
I would like to call it a grumpy sunshine, but he's really grumpy, like real grumpy.
Okay. I don't know if I got grumpy from the little introduction to him we've gotten, because he's, you know, friends with. Okay. Interesting. So let's talk about Friday. So this Friday, Beneath the Harvest Moon, that is out from Love and Color. Can you kind of share with the people what Love and Color is, and why, and how they're exclusively putting out this book on Friday?
So that's a great question. So Love and Color is a platform that supports Black romance authors, and just everything going on in Black romance in general. So they have a website. They're on socials. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for if you're new to romance or you want curated selections of what books to read. They promote book clubs and book events, and they pretty much help. Kind of think of them as like a directory that helps folks get to where they need to get in Black romance. And so it's newer. The founder, Trinity, it was like her MBA project that turned into a real thing, which is
Trinity interviewed me for that project. So to see it come to like fruition, wonderful to see.
So essentially there's different authors plugged in. And so, they do really cute themes and they partner with different book clubs. And so she kind of put an email out and was like, hey, does anybody have some autumn themed books? And who would be willing to do an exclusive? And I will say that I do write under some pen names. I've been a ghostwriter for a little bit. And so I had a book that I wasn't even going to put out as me. If you want me to be honest, I was afraid because it was completely different. It was like real small town, cowboy, cowgirl. It was very different. But when she said it, I was like, you know what? I'm spending all this time editing. I might as well put it out as me. So, we did an exclusive window. And so you can actually go on their website now and get the ebook, or you can go on my website and get the paperback now. But on Friday, it opens up to be a part of Kindle Unlimited, and the audiobook comes out.
Okay.
So really excited. I think, some people are really into themed reads. I think it's an amazing, I'm being biased here, but I think it's an amazing seasonal read, right? So if you're someone who likes sweet potato pie, pumpkin patches, pumpkin spice lattes, you're going to get all the feels. And that was important to me because when I go into my, my local bookstores, I'm seeing those books out and on display with sprayed edges, but none of those people look like me. And so that was kind of what Love and Color and I wanted to establish. Like, we wanted the Black girlies to have a book that every autumn they reach for. They recommend every autumn because it does the season justice. While it's a sweet romance, there is a trigger warning at the front. It does pack a little bit of punch. There's some spice.
What's the trigger? Is the spice the trigger? No.
No. The trigger is SA, kidnapping, gaslighting, nightmares. There are some heavier trigger warnings.
Because when you look at the cover,
I know
you don't get that from the cover. Okay.
I know. It is handled with care, and most things are off page. But the mention or the flashbacks of them are there. I was blessed that I got to partner with a very talented narrator. So that's something about social media. Like, she kept crossing my timeline of her auditioning for projects and doing vlogs like Day in the Life as an aspiring, audiobook narrator. So when I did this story, I just kept hearing her voice in my head, and she didn't even audition for it. So, I reached out to her like, would you like to audition for this? Right. And so I think that's just the power of social media. The ways in which we're able to put each other on.
Okay. Speaking of audiobooks, are we getting the audiobook treatment for the first two books in Stamped?
So we are getting the audiobook treatment for 3 Months in Accra. Of yes to Room 214, but I'm holding because they're going to get another part. And if I'm going to make the investment in audio, you might as well give us part 1 and part 2 in one audio.
So what is part 2 in Room 214?
So it's what I shouldn't call it a part 2. I should call it 2.5, right? Because it's book 2. It's another novella that skips forward 2 years. I can tell you this. He's back on a plane trying to go to a photography gig, and he gets detoured to Philly, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna just have to find you," because I mean, at this point, fate is playing games.
Okay, awesome. And you did hint at a Christmas book. Who did you decide from Stamped is going to get the Christmas book?
So when you put that,
don't be laughing because we voted. The vote for Sanaa and Ezra won. So don't be laughing.
It won on Threads, but Kofi and Aliza won on Instagram by a landslide.
No.
I'm just telling you what the numbers said.
No.
Okay, so I think you'll be happy to hear that I did try to make Sanaa and Ezra into a Christmas story, but I felt like I was forcing a Christmas story on them when it really just needed to be a follow-up. It didn't need to be a holiday. So they will get a follow-up, but it's not them. It is Christmas with the Mensahs. That's happening at Christmas, which is Aliza and Kofi. And I think the feedback that I got the most about Aliza and Kofi's story is like, okay, and then everything with the parents just dissolved and they got married and happily ever after, and the parents just accepted that. And there was like, no, we are 5 years later, and they're having Christmas, and they get a knock on the door, and guess who came to town? Uninvited, unannounced.
In Accra or in DC?
No, they live in DC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't even want to know who's at the door. When is that coming out?
So that is actually coming out November 28th. So
okay, so day after Thanksgiving.
Yep, okay. I'm letting y'all have Thanksgiving.
You're letting us have Thanksgiving. Thank you for letting us have Thanksgiving.
The day after.
So briefly, I want to talk about. So you're a grant writer, English professor, now published author. You also offer editing and author services. What are you offering? What can authors turn to you for?
I snatched that off my website so quick. But
wait, because I was on the website today. Okay. Oh my God.
No, you're fine. So,
I literally printed out these questions at like 6:40.
No, you're fine. I'm actually laughing because I was joking about not editing. So, but way before I ever decided to become an author, I was an editor, for books, for multiple things. I love editing. It is a service that I offer. It's a service that I offer with a team. So it's not just me. I do have a team.
Okay.
But yes, I do offer editing services, all jokes aside.
Do you offer it now? Because you just talked about you made an edit to the website.
So I actually toyed with putting it on its own website.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It's still awful, but it was supposed to come off my author website. It's fine. Someone's getting fired. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Because I'm like, I literally printed this out 90 minutes ago, like my questions. Like I finished writing my questions like 90 minutes ago. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, because it was there. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. But no, I actually am editing a project right now, and I'm so excited, because there's just so much that goes into, editing. Line editing, copy editing, right? Editing for grammar, then it's just so much that goes into it. So I'm really excited to see it.
Is it usually like one person that does all the things, like all these different types of editing? Is it something you all do? Like, is it something you do in one offering, in one package, or do you do one thing, another editor does another thing? Like, how does this work?
So that's a great question. So typically, right, people can come to you for certain type of edits. There's a package where someone comes to you for all. The full package is really popular, but although some people will just come to the end for like the last run through grammar, that's a popular package. How my team does it is one person sees a project through from start to the beginning because you get really invested in that project, right? It's common that other members of the team will beta read it at the beginning. Like if someone books a full package with us, they'll read it to check for holes. Like, on page 10, you said that, his mom died, but then something about his mom was mentioned and you need to clarify. Like little things like that, right? Okay. So the whole team will read it for beta, but there's one set of eyes doing each round. And I'm not saying that that's the best way to do it, but my team likes it that way.
Okay. Awesome. So what is your bandwidth for that now? Like, how are you balancing the editing, this being a professor? Like, what is your bandwidth to even edit? Like, can people contact you right now after this to be like, hey, I want you to edit?
That's people can contact me right away. Like they will get someone from the team. That doesn't mean they will get me specifically. But I, as LB, take on one editing project every 2 months, right? So it typically, if a story is completed, it typically takes me 2 months to go through a full package. If it's an edit job, it doesn't take as long. It might take 2 weeks, right? So typically people reach out and I will give them the schedule and, if they specifically say, I want you, LB, to read, I will give them my schedule. But if they're open to someone from the team, we'll give them an available slot.
How long is the wait list for you to edit?
For me, I'm on a 6-month wait list. My team is available. Just because there's a certain amount of books that I want to have at Black Romance Book Fest. And I know the only person who I'm competing with is me. No one told me, LB, you have to have this many books on your table. Okay. There is a specific amount of books that I want to see laid out on my table in May, and I'm chasing that goal.
Okay. Speaking of Black Romance Book Fest, where can people find you in the next year?
Yes, I'm so excited. So in January 16th to 18th weekend, I'm going to be at Love in the Carolinas.
That's Jerry Hines's event, right?
Yes. In South Carolina. I'm so excited. Like you mentioned CM Barnes, right? I mentioned Sedona Rose. There's so many talented authors going to be there that I'm really excited about. And then, Darnisha is going to be hosting, right? Yes. She showed us a great time in Charlotte when we were there for the Alexandria House event, for House Party. I'm really excited. And that event really inspired me a lot to write the second book. Beneath the Harvest Moon was supposed to be a standalone completely. I only even mentioned the other 2 characters maybe once or twice, but I was stuck in this whole Carolina love because of that event and looking forward to it. So, the second book is done. I'm just editing that now.
Okay. And is that going to coincide with a different season?
No. Okay. It won't coincide with the season.
Okay. What else are you doing in 2026?
So that event, Black Romance Book Fest, and I'll be at a lot of other events just as a reader girly. So I'm going to the Monique event with
Urban Lit 850.
Yes. I'm going to that. I'm also going to Chocolate City Book Fest because Beauty Brains and Books Book Club, which is our virtual book club on Fable, and we meet once a month on Google Meet. We like to get together once a year for a retreat. Okay. And the place was the DMV area. We have the most amount of members in the DMV area. So as soon as Chocolate City announced, they were like, "Yep, we're hosting.
We're going." So you said this is a virtual book club on Fable. Yes. Is it open? Is it open to members?
Yes, it's open to the public. What I love about the book club is currently we're at about 280 members on Fable. And
oh my goodness! So what does this retreat look like?
Oh, okay, so I'm getting there. So we have 280 members on Fable, but people are able to engage with their time permits, which I like. So we have some folks that we only ever see on Fable underneath the comments, and we have a grand old time there. We have, I would say, less than a third of them actually log on to Google Meet, and then our retreat space tend to look like about 25, which is very manageable. We have folks that are constantly around each other, and we know each other, and we have an Airbnb. We have folks that are like, I love y'all, but I don't know y'all like that. I'm going to get a local hotel, and I'll meet y'all at all of the activities, right? Okay. And we have activities like brunch and candle making and all of the things, right? So, and I even tell folks, even if you're not going to Chocolate City, come do bookish stuff with us and just come interact with other Black readers who love Black books.
Okay, so it's books, beauty, brain. Did I get the B's out of order?
So it's Beauty, Brains, and Books Book Club. It's a picture of like 6 women drinking wine. Our current read is Legendborn, so you'll know that you're at the right book because you'll see the book Legendborn for the month.
Okay. So fable.co, and if they type in your book club name and they see the logo, you're reading Legendborn, they're in the right place.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And where can people keep up with you online?
Yes, I'm LB Gaines, the author, everywhere.
Okay.
I don't really love Facebook, but I'm on there because the readers are on Facebook still.
They are. And you know, it is what it is. I'm not, I think the one thing is like, I just refuse to be on Facebook, and I know I miss out a lot in the online reading and bookish spaces because like I refuse to be on Facebook. But I know they're on Facebook, so.
Yeah, so I'm everywhere. I'm even on Lemonade, which, you know, I love when people are like, I see you on Lemonade. I'm like, oh, prove that, you know, just posting what you have, it does work. Right?
Okay, so LB Gaines, the author, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay, so website, Instagram, TikTok, Lemonade,
Substack.
Facebook, anywhere else?
Substack.
Okay. So yeah, those are all my questions. I do want to end with a game though. So are you ready for this or that?
I'm ready.
All right. Character driven or plot driven stories?
Character driven.
Okay. Friends to lovers or enemies to lovers?
Friends to lovers.
Physical touch or quality time?
Physical touch.
Books or audiobooks?
Ooh. I can't say both.
No.
I'm gonna say books because I wrote them.
Okay, books because you wrote. Okay, period. Okay, good answer. And for those who are tuned in, ask your audience questions now. Your friends are just telling all. Your friends just answer all the questions. Audience, if you have questions, ask them now while we go through this or that, and we'll get your audience questions before we let LB Gaines go. Do you like chapters with or without titles?
I need the titles. All my books are going to have chapter titles. I want it to feel like a DVD. You know exactly where to go.
Okay. Fast-paced or slow burn?
Fast-paced. I have anxiety.
Okay. He falls first or she falls first?
Always him.
Okay. Why?
Because Black women go through enough in the real world. Let me read a story where he's outside with a radio pining.
Okay, period. Novels or novellas?
Novellas.
Okay. 3 Months in Accra or Room 214 San Juan?
I'm going to say Room 214 because I should grow as a writer. I should get better with each story.
Okay. And then last one, Book Talk or Bookstagram?
Ooh. You want me to get jumped while on Book Talk?
No, I do not care. I don't care.
I'm going to say Bookstagram because it's easier to form a community over there. Like you can get more followers over here, but people who talk to me on Bookstagram and slide in my DMs and actually like send me voice notes, we hug like we've known each other forever when we see each other.
Okay, interesting. I guess I'm missing out on that. I'm not doing that on Bookstagram. Like no one's like I'm also not an author, but no one sent me a voice note about nothing on Instagram.
So honestly, it's the creepy readers who did it. I started as a reader, and not just the authors, but just the other Bookstagrammers. Like the audacity for you to just slide in a DM just because somebody posted they like the book, and for you to just send a 4-minute voice note about it takes a lot of audacity, and it's a very Bookstagram thing to do, and I love it.
And then I think my TikTok DMs, I think they're open because my manager says I have to keep them open, but like I also don't want to be DM'd on Instagram, on TikTok for sure. Like, cause that is a mess. Interesting. Okay. Audience questions. Shout out to Petals and Pros. I interviewed you 2 weeks ago. What news you got? Someone said, can you say the name of the book club again?
Yes, it's Beauty, Brains, and Books.
Beauty, Brains, and Books. You call what do you call it? Do you guys call it 4B? Like, what do you call it again?
We call it BBB.
BBB.
And
yes.
if you can't, we are at the BBB book club, so it ends up being 4Bs back to back.
Okay.
On Instagram.
So okay, so the BBBB. So the BBB book club on Instagram.
Yes, one of my BBB ladies, please. Can you just put a link there or like that there? Okay.
Are you done using the word hoisted? Does Tiffany know you?
Oh my God. Okay, so in 3 months of Accra, I say he hoisted her on the counter, and she almost reported my book to Kindle Unlimited. She said it was disrespectful to use the word hoist. She's not an elephant. She has not let it go, and we have this little beef. Anytime I hear the word hoist in a book, I stop what I'm doing and I call her to be like, so and so uses it. This person uses it.
Awesome. And it's been awesome seeing your BBB girlies in the chat tonight. So shout out to y'all. And hopefully all of y'all are at Chocolate City Lit in April, because I'll see you there. I'll see you at Black Romance Book Fest. Any last things you want to share with readers before I let you go?
Just know that when you read my books, you're in for a good time. They're not long, but they're very impactful. You're going to get a full novel experience in less than 100 pages. And, you know, I'm going to take you out of your city. You're going to feel like you're somewhere else for a bit.
Okay, so out now, 3 months in Accra. That's book 1 and stamped. Room 214 San Juan. That's book 2 and stamped. Beneath the Harvest Moon is out on Love and Color already. They can get the paperback from you now, but they can get it on KU, on Kindle, on audiobook this Friday.
That's correct.
And then this first urban romance, can you give us a title?
Just because it's y'all. It's called Bulletproof Love.
Ooh, okay. And Bulletproof Love is coming late winter, early spring 2026.
Yes, I think it's fair to say that. Yeah.
And then book 3 and stamped. Do you want to give us a name?
No.
Okay. And book 3 and stamped is out before July 31, 2026.
Yes.
Okay. All right. LD Gaines, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. This interview will be on YouTube tomorrow. So if you've missed any part, YouTube tomorrow. LB Gaines, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you in DC in April.
I'll see you in April.
All right. Thank you.